Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakal Kadash, giving double honor to the Apostle Elders of Great Millstone, peace and blessings, the best pushing in truth and sincerity, and Kwam Yasharala. It's the brother in the Apostle Kadash. All right, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. I was just thinking about the times that we coming into, that's why I grabbed Matthew 24 and a couple other precepts to go along with it. We getting ready to come into a MOTB, right? That's prophecy that's knocking at the door. It's right around the corner. If not, it's literally here, right? You got World War III. We can see Russia slowly being turned back into the Soviet Union. We can see the least of the flock drawing them out, talking about the JOOs pulling America into it, right? We can see these prophecies coming to pass. And what does that mean for us? It means that our salvation is nearer than what we believe, right? So I'm going to just jump it off with this, Matthew 24:1. And Yahweh Shai went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to shew him the building of the temple. And Yahweh Shai said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Yeah, and this is, I always say, this is how you know Yahweh Shai was a prophet, at least within this chapter, because obviously he was, teaching, but, he prophesied, which prophecy goes into, prophesy means to speak before, to basically say something gonna happen before it happened. All right, if you look around now, where's the second temple at that we would do our sacrifices in? It doesn't exist anymore. The fucking heathens tore it down, right? But when it was still standing, Yahweh Shai told the disciples, one day this temple ain't gonna be here. So yeah, he prophesied. Verse 3, and as he sat upon the olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And when shall the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? All right, so this is when you really read into it, that's a lot to really go into. It says the three things they said privately. So this wasn't one of those accounts where the multitude was around and the disciples of the disciples was around. No, it was just the disciples and Yahweh Shai. It's a private conversation. But it says, Tell us, when shall these things be? And the temple was taken down. That time period is what we call 70 AD, when Jerusalem was under siege, right? So that time period, we'll call that 70 AD. They was asking about when was 70 AD pop up, because it wasn't 70 AD yet, right? It says, when shall the sign of thy coming? In other words, asking Yahweh Shai, when you going to come back to deliver us? They know he the deliverer. They know he's the chosen one, right? Like they're asking him, that's the second question. When you gonna come back and deliver the nation Israel? And then it say, verse 3. It says, not verse 3, in question 3, and the end of the world, which we'll go into it. This word world right here. You see, it says an eon.
Strong's G165. Ion.
So an eon says forever, an unbroken age, perpetually time, eternity, the world's universe, and this is the one we want right here, period of time, comma, age. Because the end of this world, the scriptures talk about, this world has no end. The sun is not going to burn out in a billion years. The earth is not going to, all the vegetation going to die. All these sci-fi movies, they fiction. They fiction sci-fi. The world is not going to end. So they were asking, when would the end of this era be? And this era is the Edomite era. They've been ruling from Greek to Rome. Some up in there, but since Rome, like without a doubt, right? But that's what they was asking. Verse 4, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, right? So this when you read Matthew 24, a heading for this one in many Bibles is a sign of the times. So what he about to do is about to show them signs to the question they asked. When is this era gonna be over? When are you going to come back to save us? When is 70 AD going to pop off? Now, some of these scriptures in this chapter are twofold. Some are specifically for 70 AD, and some are specifically for the time period we in. You got to have the spirit, and that's why we making it plain upon tables and breaking it down. But nonetheless, you know, he getting ready to give you the sign of the times. These are the signs you see, because we already know. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but the Father, but my Father. So only Yahweh know when he gonna send Yahweh back to deliver us. Now, Yahweh couldn't give us a day. He couldn't say, hey, it's gonna be the year 2028, March 1st. It's gonna be the year 2026, December 31st. He couldn't give us a day or anything like that. But what he could do is give us the signs of his. When we see these certain signs, this means he coming back, right? It says, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. You know, that's a real thing, right? That's a real thing. A lot of people, I remember I was a kid, you had somebody dressed up as Jesus, not Yahweh, but Jesus, saying that, you know, he was him and all this, and you had another dude out there in Africa recently, I forget which country it was. He was, you know, Africans, they dress a certain way, but he was wearing what they presume to be what a prophet will wear. You know, I forget what it's called. Basically, you know how the old biblical times, they would wear garments, in so many words, garments, right? And and then so they I guess he just tried to dress like he was a biblical character, right? And he tried to tell people it was gonna be a great flood coming. He was trying to use the scriptures and things like that and all that type of stuff. And then what happened was, he said on this day the flood happened, so people was buying tickets and they was following him, and the flood never came, and he was put to, if I'm not mistaken, he was put to death. So, you know, I'm just using an example of people trying to say that they are Yahweh Shai, they the way, they did this great prophet. Hey, it's just a sign that we in these times. There's a lot of false prophets and people saying they the way. Even you had, I think it was France. They was told about how World War I was gonna pop off, and everybody moved out the country, and then they came back, and then the war really did pop off, and they was all stuck there in the middle of the war, right? Could have been World War II. I think it was World War I, but you know, this is just the signs. We hear these rumors of wars, even modern day. You hear about before Ukraine and Russia popped off, we heard about it. Before the Palestine and the JOOs popped off, we heard about it, and these. You know, we could look up how many active wars there are. It's going to say about 182. It says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Yeah, the end is not yet. These are just it's just warming up. Like right now, it's just we in the pre-stages of Jacob's trouble. It's warming up. Granted, you know, we still could go to work, get a drink, things like that, but we see the times that we in, and the scriptures talk about what manner of person ought thou to be. I'll just grab it. Second Peter 3:11. 2 Peter 3:11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person ought ye to be in all holiness, conversation, and godliness? And when you go back, this verse is just telling you, because before this verse, it going to the destruction and things like that. It's telling you, seeing that all these wars going to pop off, seeing that the ICBM is going to pop off, what type of person do you think you should be? Knowing that ICBM is going to come and melt Babylon the Great, which is known as America today, which is known as modern day to America. What type of, you should be a person that should be indulging in the scriptures, doing your videos, being in the spirit, trying to get right with the Lord, right? It's I'm back in Matthew 24 and 26. Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Meaning, when we see these wars and things pop off, we ain't gonna get saved the next day. That's just the pre-stages. Like right now, Yahweh Shai hasn't come back, but we see these wars. We're in this part of the scriptures. It says, for nation shall rise against nation. All right. You got your Edomite versus your Israelite. You got your Moabite versus your Ammonite, and so forth and so forth. You got kingdom against kingdom. All right. You got fucking Egypt versus Morocco, and you got fucking America versus Russia. Different kingdoms. Everybody's going to war and they fighting. It says, and there shall be famines, which we seeing that everywhere. Physically, on a level of lack of food. Syria been having famines for years. Even here in America, you could think about 2020, certain things. You go to the grocery store, they wasn't there. You know, elders have had visions and things of the future. People, it just wasn't a lot of food out here. The scriptures tell us in Isaiah 55, 56 about how they shall not eat, but my servants shall eat. So, you know, these things are prophesied to happen. It says, and also you're gonna have a spiritual famine too, which is what is it? I can't think of the word, how to say it right now. It's gonna be a spiritual famine when the videos is no longer out, when the tongue of a prophet is stuck to the roof of his mouth, and we ain't out prophesying no more. All right, hey, it's over with. That's gonna be the spiritual famine. It says, and pestilences, and we seeing that right now. Pestilence is every commercial you see. The medicine got a side effect. You got ticks that bite you and you be allergic to meat now. You got GMO mosquitoes made by Bill Gates. You got all STDs are at an all-time high. You got cancer. 1 in 4 people got cancer. 1 in 4 people got this. 1 in 4 people got that. You know, it's pestilences are throughout the earth. We're living these scriptures at this point. And earthquakes in diverse places, which spiritually, that's talking about the uproars of the people, and physically, there are earthquakes all throughout the world right now. These are the signs of the times that we're using to measure the times diligently. It says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. All right. And all these, we could go into the word sorrow too, because it ain't going to be no good time while all this going on. It says sorrow, Odin, which is a Greek word. It says intolerable anguish in reference to the dire calamities precede the advents of the Messiah. So before the Messiah come back, our Savior, which his name is Yahweh Shai, before he come back, it's going to be all hell loose on earth. All hell loose on earth. Right? But I'm going to stop right there. I'll continue a little bit later on. I hope this video was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakal Kedash, giving double honor to the Apostle Elders, Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to brothers pushing this truth and sincerity, and Kwam Yasharala.